fought this battle just under 3 years ago, and I thought I'd show you how I go through the process of actually creating a battlefield, creating a backstory, selecting the troops, and then fighting the battle. As you can see where I was, I didn't exactly have a huge table to work on. In fact, it was a pretty small dining table. The table layout is the next thing you have to worry about. I have a scenario in mind which calls for a road running between two quite steep ridges. There are gaps in the ridges where roads will branch off. My ridges, as can be seen, are a couple of tea towels and face flannels. The gap in the ridge for the road at the western end of the table. The face cloth will probably end up being a hill to break up the monotony of the ridge. There is also a gap in the ridge line to the south side of the table. Finally, a road will also enter at this northern point at the east end of the table. We cover everything with a cigar box battle mat, and we've got some terrain going on. Get some soldiers' eye views of the table. Next up is to place the roads, the main turnpike running the length of the table, with lesser roads radiating off to pass through the gaps in the ridges. At a farm, a walled church, some split log fencing and trees, and our battlefield is born. Looking down the table from east to west. Perfect setting for the local church. Looking down a couple of lanes from low level. And finally, looking at the table, viewing from east to west. With the battlefield set up, we move on to the next stage, and that's creating the backstory. The Army of the Potomac is withdrawing down the peninsula after the aborted attempt to capture Richmond. The whole army is on the south bank of the rising Chickahominy River, except for 5th Corps, commanded by Brigadier General Fitzjohn Porter. His corps is large, comprising 5 divisions with a total of 14 infantry brigades, 7 batteries and a brigade of cavalry, but it is isolated on the north bank. Not one to miss an opportunity, Robert E. Lee formulates a daring plan to destroy 5th Corps. He splits his army of Northern Virginia into 2 wings. The right wing, led by himself, is composed of Longstreet and A.P. Hill's divisions, a total of 11 infantry brigades supported by 2 batteries of artillery. The other and larger wing is commanded by Major General Jackson, with no less than 4 divisions, giving a total of 14 infantry brigades and 4 batteries of guns. Lee's plan is to crush 5th Corps between the 2 wings. Sound familiar? Well, it is the opening moves and the order of battle, the Battle of Gaines' Mill. However, the forces quartered are far too large for my tiny table, hence my fictitious piece of the peninsula located in the area of St. Mark's Church. Even with each stand representing a brigade, I've had to cut down the size of the forces involved. Union 5th Corps in all its glory, though truncated to 3 divisions of infantry, 1 of cavalry and 5 batteries of artillery. The 3 infantry divisions of General McCall, Sykes and Morrell, with Porter out in front. His 5 batteries of guns and a couple of supply wagons to represent his supply chain. The 2 wings of the Confederate Army have also been pruned to fit. The right wing, now comprises of just Longstreet's division and one battery of artillery. Jackson has 2 divisions of infantry and 2 batteries of guns in the left wing. Longstreet's division of 6 brigades and artillery. General Lee is also with this wing. Jackson's force of 2 infantry divisions and 2 batteries of artillery. The 2 red arrows show the entry points of the Confederate forces, Longstreet on the lower right, Jackson on the lower left. Morrell's division leads 5th Corps onto the table. The Union column snakes along, covered on its right flank by a brigade of cavalry. General Porter also takes in the scene. Longstreet's division also begins to enter the field on the road next to St. Mark's Church. The columns converge. Where is General Jackson? I'd originally based all my troops for the Palimus rules from Bacchus, which uses a 60 by 30 base for infantry, but I soon realised the shortcomings of this. If you look at the previous photographs of the troops moving down the road, it appears that they're all walking sideways like blooming crabs, and that just wasn't acceptable. I still had a lot more troops to paint, and I got on with it, and this time I put them on 30 by 30 bases, so now I've got a mixture of the two. These look a lot better when I start marching down roads, as you'll see later in the battle. It also gives me more options for size of units on my small table. I immediately pressed the new 30 by 30 bases into service. Each one represents a brigade. Decided to make it smaller from the table. So here we have the 3 brigades of Morrell's division marching along the road in column. The same with Longstreet's division. No longer do they have to crab along sideways. Turn 1. Sorry for the poor quality of this photograph. It shows Longstreet division deployed behind a split log fencing on the road by St. Mark's Church, as well as blocking the road, and 1 brigade is in the woods. Its single artillery battery is also deployed. A closer view of the Confederate deployment. Looking along Longstreet's division, the right wing of the Confederate Army is in place, but where is General Jackson's left wing? Powell's division sets up its 2 batteries, with its 3 brigades of infantry ready to advance. Opposite the main Confederate force, Sykes' division is in column ready to assault the rebel position. His artillery has joined with those of McCall's division to form a large battery to soften up the enemy positions before the infantry assault. The gun line and infantry brigades ready themselves for action. A view of the battlefield from behind the rebel position. A high-level shot of the table looking from behind the rebels. Morrell's division of Union infantry are poised in a good position to flank the enemy, whose lines extend only into the wood at the bottom of the photograph. The Confederate wing is totally outnumbered and outgunned, and will have to hold on in the hope that Jackson arrives quickly on the Union flank and rear. Each Confederate turn from 5 on, a die will be rolled. A success and will be a 6, and Jackson will arrive. After that, the die roll needed will be reduced by 1 pip on each roll. Turn 3. The single rebel battery opens up in counter-battery fire, but fails to score a hit. Turn 4. In response, the mass Union batteries also target the rebel artillery and score a single hit. The rebel artillery is silenced, but not destroyed. The 2 batteries of Morrell's division unleash on the woods containing a Confederate brigade. Lots of damage to the trees, but the rebel infantry are unscathed. The Confederate battery is hauled back into its firing position, but cannot fire on this turn. The roll for reinforcements was unsuccessful. The massed Union battery across the field now had their eye in, and registered no less than 3 hits on the rebel battery. The battery is destroyed and will be removed at the end of the turn, leaving the infantry at the mercy of the enemy cannon. More success too for Morell's batteries. They score 2 hits. The Rebs in the wood are badly mauled and drop to just 2 elan. General Jackson will not be arriving this turn, and the Confederate division has no means of hitting the enemy, save by committing to a suicidal charge into cannon and superior numbers of infantry. Turn 8. There are, however, no such problems for the Union batteries, which now concentrate on the enemy infantry. Hits are scored on 2 units. Morell's battery also unleashes once again on the infantry in the wood. More hits and its elan drops to 2. Turn 9, and my dice rolling is up to its usual high standards. Again Jackson fails to arrive. The Union batteries can carefully lay their guns, totally unopposed. Not quite as devastating, but 1 hit is scored. On this occasion, Morell's batteries failed to register a hit. The rebels in the wood managed to cling on. Turn 11. I didn't photograph it, but yet another one for the reinforcement. It was enough for General Lee to act. General Longstreet, we are outnumbered, outgunned, and outflanked. I cannot imagine what is delaying General Jackson. Your division cannot hit back at the enemy, whilst he can hit us at his leisure. Your division is too valuable to be shot to pieces, so you will order it to move off back down the road from which we came. Longstreet's division began to withdraw from the field. 2 brigades cover the retreat of the bulk of the division. Turn 12. The Yankee guns send a parting gift. The rebel unit at the rear of the column, which has been badly mauled in the wood, took the brunt, and 2 hits destroyed it completely. One of the 2 brigades covering with the withdrawal suffers 2 hits from Morell's guns. The Union Cavalry Brigade ensures the Confederates are indeed leaving for good. General Porter and his 5th Corps, unscathed, continues its march, passing the church that had been defended by the Confederates. 5th Corps, in all its glory, continues its march as the cavalry monitor the withdrawal of the rebels. A final shot of 5th Corps with the table laid out for the battle that ended up being no more than a one-sided skirmish. The order of battle was taken from the Battle of Gaines Mill, as I said previously, and just like here, General Jackson failed to show. 5th Corps was able to fight its way past Lee's right wing.